All right, thanks, Joshua. The investigation into the deaths of Charity Pal Bialis and her twin children now involve federal agencies. It's been nearly a week since all three were found shot to death inside their Bonanza home. A local criminal defense attorney revealed that federal agencies are involved in investigations more often than many people realize. He explained that this happens because local law enforcement does not have the same level of resources as federal agencies. Organizations such as the Department of Homeland Security and the Secret Service typically have greater access to telecommunications, which can assist in tracking phone usage, financial activity, and even movement across state lines.
Generally speaking, the Secret Service is usually involved in financial or money crimes. Aside from their protective duties, they do a lot of anything involving banks, credit cards, fraud. Where Homeland Security generally involves usually the border. They have more what people in the kind of industry would call border authority. So anything that's going around a port of entry, people coming in, people going out.
It's also important to note that he is speaking based on general experience and is not directly involved in the Sebastian County case. Police also say 12 search warrants are in process. 6 have been served. Charity Bialis' son, John Powell, filed a motion to intervene in his mother's divorce case against Dr. Randy Bialis. In that motion, Powell says last week's hearing was a final divorce hearing. He says that the judge gave a bench ruling granting an absolute divorce from Randy Bialis and child custody. Before Charity and the twins were found dead the next day, we talked to Powell, who says the most urgent battle is over, where his mother's body will be laid to rest.
Yeah, that's our top priority right now, is to be able to put my mother to rest like she deserves, instead of letting someone else get her body and do whatever they want with it. That's our main goal right now.
5 News shared last week Randy Bialis filed to dismiss the divorce case after Charity's death. You can catch up on the details in the case on our website, 5newsonline.com. Meanwhile, one of the 2 men charged in the torturing and killing of a woman in LaFleur County has pleaded guilty. Austin Johnson will be sentenced next month. Johnson on the left and Alex Davis were arrested after an investigation into the disappearance of Tara Strozier back in 2021. Police suspected foul play, and they later found Strozier's body in a pond in Rock Island. Alex Davis took a plea deal in July. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Johnson will be sentenced next month. The former Crawford County Library official arrested and accused of staging a kidnapping plot for her mentally disabled daughter has pleaded not guilty. Tammy Hamby's attorney filed on her behalf Tuesday and waived her right to a formal arraignment. The same attorney also filed not guilty pleas for the 3 other defendants in the case: David Quach, Nico Austria, and Shannon Childers. The 4 defendants all face multiple charges, including conspiracy to commit kidnapping. It all stems from an alleged plot to teach Hamby's daughter a lesson about talking and meeting with strangers online. And uproar continues over a restaurant owner in Benton who won't serve jail time for an alleged sexual assault. The alleged victims, 3 underage girls who worked at Tim's Tavern in Benton, say the owner, Timothy Stepak, sexually assaulted or harassed them. But those charges were dropped, with the Saline County prosecuting attorney saying he did not think they could be proven. Instead, Stepak pleaded guilty to 3 counts of endangering the welfare of a minor and received 12 months probation.
We want answers. None of it really makes sense.
Stepak released his first official statement through the restaurant's Facebook page. Part of that lengthy statement reads, "Tim has and continues to and will continue to maintain his innocence of all the lies, slander, and crimes he's been accused of." He says he plans to release evidence proving his innocence later on. And we're hearing from both sides of the debate over Arkansas's canvassing laws. As you may remember, a federal judge recently blocked several of those laws. One's critics say were meant to make it harder for Arkansans to use direct democracy. But now the state is looking to appeal. 5 News reporter Jacob Luthi has the latest.
Several grassroots organizations argue the laws violate both the U.S. and Arkansas constitutions. Last month, a federal judge agreed, issuing a preliminary injunction on restrictive ballot initiative rules signed into law earlier this year. The laws blocked include the requirement of an 8th grade reading level standard of a ballot initiative, photo ID and ballot title requirements, and limits on canvassers. The ruling also halted rules on informing signers about fraud penalties. However, the state is now fighting the injunction. Secretary of State Cole Jester filed a notice of appeal on the ruling last week. Attorney General Tim Griffin's office has asked the Western District of Arkansas Fayetteville Division to pause the preliminary injunction on the photo ID, post-circulation affidavit, and READ Act requirements, pending a decision on the appeal. In a statement to 5 News, a spokesperson for the Secretary of State's office says, quote, "These laws are critical to protecting the integrity of the ballot initiative process from bad actors. We are thankful for the excellent representation by the Arkansas Attorney General, and we look forward to success." David Couch, attorney for the grassroots groups fighting the laws, says groups are currently out right now canvassing, trying to get various initiatives on the ballot for November. He says the laws harm direct democracy here in the state.
Direct democracy is the only way that people can actually get something on the ballot and get it voted into law without having to go through the General Assembly. Now, that's why they make all these laws, make it more difficult for us to do this, because they don't think the people, I don't know why they don't believe it, but they don't like the laws that we propose, because if they would do them themselves, we wouldn't have to do it.
Now, what does this mean for those collecting signatures now? Well, Couch says the preliminary injunction is still in place and groups can continue gathering those signatures without adhering to the stricter regulations. Now, that would change if the state's appeal is successful. Couch says that groups have until July to collect the necessary number of signatures to get their initiatives on the November ballot. Jacob Luthi, 5 News.
All right, Jacob, thanks for that report. Well, with next year's midterm elections less than a year away, President Trump has begun hitting the road to talk about a key issue on voters' minds: affordability. The president traveled to the battleground state of Pennsylvania Tuesday to tout job growth and falling prices. But many Americans say prices are still too high. Natalie Brand reports from the White House.
I just want to say hello, Pennsylvania, and I'm thrilled to be back.
President Trump used a campaign-style speech in Pennsylvania to defend his administration's economic agenda.
I have no higher priority than making America affordable again,
while blaming Democrats and the previous administration for inflation.
Prices are coming down very substantially, but they have a new word. You know, they always have a hoax. The new word is affordability.
Government data shows the inflation rate had been falling at the beginning of the year, but began slowly rising again this spring, around the time President Trump imposed widespread tariffs. The cost of a gallon of gas is down compared to the same time last year, but utility bills are up, and shoppers say they're still feeling the pinch at the grocery store. Many are giving the economy mixed reviews.
We're definitely failing. We're definitely faltering.
For myself personally, I'd probably say about a good B. Just because my investments are doing pretty well.
Recent CBS polling finds a disconnect between how President Trump talks about the economy and how Americans say they feel, something Democrats are seizing on ahead of next year's midterm elections.
Donald Trump and Republicans have done nothing to lower the high cost of living. Housing costs, out of control. Electricity costs, out of control. Child care costs, out of control.
Democratic leaders have also warned of rising health care premiums, with enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies set to expire at the end of the year. On Thursday, the Senate will vote on dueling proposals to address the issue. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
We also want to remind you to join Chief Meteorologist Scott Covert and 5 News in helping spread warmth this holiday season through our A Coat for Christmas drive. We're collecting warm coats to benefit the Salvation Army of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Drop-off sites are at the Mathis Brothers Sleep Store in Fort Smith, Lazy Boy in Springdale, and both Ashley Furniture Stores in Fort Smith and Rogers.